back to the channel, guys. As always, how's everybody doing on there? And my pack, the day has come where, as I told you, as I promised you guys, I would bring you new segments, some new segments on the channel. And today you're going to check out one of those new segments. And this segment is called and entitled DreamCasting with me, M.V.K, your alpha. Guys, over the course and over the years of the various superhero movies, guys, you may not have always wondered what was going in my head when they announced the casting of this character and everything like that. But now you're gonna know. Now you're gonna understand where I was coming from with it. And now you're gonna also know what I was thinking about it. So always in this segment, guys, I will choose 4 that I had thought about for the character. And I'll give my thoughts on it and explain what I felt and why I felt like it could have went that way. But in the meantime, I hope you guys enjoy and sit back and relax, and let's get to this. You may be willing to participate at the end because I want to hear from you as well. So with that being said, guys, the first character on that we're going to do for episode 1, of course, has to go to my boy, Spider-Man. Over the course of the history of this character, and that's been, what, 60 plus years? There have been technically 5 live action Spider-Man. Well, 4 technically. There was one in the 70s, even though those weren't movies, but yeah, there was one in the 70s, remember, when he had the big web shooter on his hand. Of course, we go to the 2000s with Tobey Maguire, who I always consider the foundation. And then we have Andrew Garfield, who I have always said was Spider-Man just at the wrong time. But was he a bad Spider-Man? No, he was not. He did some things that only true New Yorkers picked up on. And then, of course, we have young Mr. Holland, who to me has been the best combination of both actors and also more of the comic accuracy of Spider-Man in general. Cracks jokes, uses his brain, smart, you name it. Sometimes they don't always have that. But I'd be remiss, guys, if I didn't give you that. To me, there were other actors over the course of these films that I could have seen playing the character. We're going to start off with the first actor. Now, this first actor actually came, if I'm not mistaken, came very close to replacing Tobey as Peter Parker. When Tobey had injured his back, it got that close for this certain actor. And who is that actor? Jake Gyllenhaal. I've always been a big Jake Gyllenhaal fan. I love his work. He's one of those actors, I feel like he is a chameleon when he needs to be. When he gets into his roles, sometimes he gets lost in those roles too. I mean, he's that damn good. And I always thought he would have been a very decent and well placed replacement for Tobey if he couldn't come back after the back injury. He had injured his back, if I remember, it was because of he did Seabiscuit, and they were just about to go film Spider-Man 2, and I believe he injured his back during, and they were really thinking about replacing him with Jake Gyllenhaal. But even before Tobey took the role, I could have seen Jake playing that role, and I think he would have done just as much of a job as Mr. Maguire did. But yeah, Jake Gyllenhaal's up there. out of anything, I would have been okay with it, and it would have been cool to see him. And it's kind of funny that because he would come back to play a very classic Spider-Man villain in Mysterio, and he worked out pretty damn well. But yeah, he was up there. Brendan Thwaites, you know him. He also played Dick Grayson in the Titans show, and he was a good He was a good Dick Grayson. But there were points when I'm watching him, and I think the first time I saw him was in the Pirates of the Caribbean movie. I forget what Pirates movie that was in 2017. I think it was called Dead Man's Tale. Dead Man Tell No Tales or something like that. I watched him in that, and I'm like, I'm looking at this dude, and I'm just like, why do I see Peter Parker? Why do I see Peter Parker when I see him? I'm just like, if he got a little bigger, got into shape a little bit, I'm looking at him, I'm like, okay, picturing the costume, I'm picturing that Parker look, and I'm just like, yeah. And this was at a time when there was still in talks of doing Ali Spider-Man, so I don't believe he was casted yet. I don't think Holland was casted yet. So yeah, he was definitely up there, and it did me proud to know that he would go on to play one of my favorite DC heroes, Nightwing, and probably my favorite character in the Bat family, even above Batman, Dick Grayson. So, and I would not mind seeing him return as Dick Grayson in James Gunn's DC. Bring him back. But I could have seen him putting on the costume and being the web slinger. He definitely, to me, would have been that version of Spider-Man. So I would have loved to seen that Mr. Thwaites play him. Aussie, right? The next choice that was going through my head for a long time, Dylan O'Brien. Dylan O'Brien, I felt, would have been a near perfect Peter Parker. He's already from New York. If they had if he had taken over from the MCU, I think he would have still been in his early 20s, because I believe he's 33 now. But still, I think he would have been perfect as Peter Parker. If you watch him as Styles in Teen Wolf, he has every aspect of Peter Parker, and I was just like, that was a missed moment. I would have loved to have seen him take that role of Spider-Man and just hit it out of the park, because mark my words, he would have done that. He would have done it. And it's funny because if I remember correctly, he had to keep his mouth shut because I believe he was in the running for Spider-Man. I remember seeing interviews and people would ask him, are you going to play Spider-Man? And he couldn't say a damn thing about it. So it was always it was like, wait, are you? Or are you not, Dylan? But yeah, Dylan O'Brien was, to be, in my opinion, by far a fan casting I said for a long time, a dream casting for a long time, I thought could have absolutely nailed Spider-Man. Peter Parker. I would have loved to have seen that. He would have nailed it. There's still points to this day. There's still points to this day. I still think Dylan O'Brien could be great as Spider-Man. Dylan O'Brien, he would have nailed that character. He would have been chef's kiss perfect as Peter Parker. I'm not even joking. Grant Gustin. Yeah, guys, look, say what you want. about CW Flash. And yeah, you know, they wasted a lot of potential with a lot of classic Flash rogues. It focused too much on this and didn't focus on that. But all Grant Gustin's Barry Allen was Peter Parker. And it was seriously uncanny and really strange to see that. I watched him even when he debuted as Barry Allen in Arrow. I'm like, he has this quirkiness of Peter Parker, not Barry Allen. I'm like, I would say all the time, I'm like, he's playing the wrong character. He is playing the wrong character. And at that time, you know, I once again, not knowing if they were going to go with Spider-Man, were they going to go, you know, with Holland as Spider-Man. We didn't know if they were going to make him, you know, the high school student or not. But it was something that I looked at and I said, you know, if they don't go, you know, if they want to do, you know, college years with Peter, there you go. There were people that I could have seen. It's just really funny because he played Flash from 2014, I believe, to 2023. He played that character for about 10 years, 9-10 years. And there were bits and pieces about his Barry I liked, and there were bits and pieces about his Barrys that I did not like, and I didn't like. But the majority of it was that he felt more like Peter Parker. And it was just like, all I'm seeing is Peter working as a CSI. And it's funny that, because on Earth 892, which is the Earth where Mayday Parker is from, Peter was a forensic scientist. So I'm like, yeah, I can see it. But Grant, I still feel he could pull off Barry Allen, not Barry. He pull off Peter Parker, and I've heard him say like he would love to come back as the Flash or as a different character. And you know, to me, it's open season. You know, the tides have turned. Could he come back for a DC character, or could he come back for a Marvel character? Spider-Man, unfortunately, is taken, but there are other characters I can see Grant Gustin playing for Marvel if need be. But I think Grant in the Spider-Man suit would have made perfect sense. I think he would have nailed it too. Just personally to me. Guys, those were some DreamCasting in my head for years that I wanted to explore to you. You know, I remember, it's always fun to fancast. It's always fun to dreamcast. No offense. What actor you would love to see. That's the beauty of it. And nobody can be wrong because everybody's entitled to it and everybody is different. But these were 4 actors that, for Spider-Man, over the years, whether they had have taken the role in the Amazing series or would have replaced Toby because of his injury, Jake Gyllenhaal was definitely among them. If Brendan Thwaites and Dylan O'Brien could have done the Amazing series, Dylan O'Brien also could have taken the role of Tom Holland. But being the fact that they did the whole going back to high school, you know, with Peter Parker, which I will say is now getting a little played out, and I'm a little tired of it now. I would love to see a more mature or older Peter Parker in live action, where maybe he's in college and everything. He's a young man and not a high school student. But at the end of it, could you imagine Dylan O'Brien cracking them jokes like Spider-Man? every time I watch the Civil War, I'm just hearing, I can see Dylan O'Brien nailing everything that Tom Holland nailed in that. It could have worked. But there you guys have it. Jake Gyllenhaal, Brendan Thwaites, Dylan O'Brien, Grant Gustin. Those are some of my dream casting for Spider-Man that has been up in this head for years. I look forward to hearing yours. And with that, I bid you adieu. And we will be back next time with another episode of DreamCasting with the Mount Vernon Kid. Take care, guys.